It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Sebastian Ridley-Thomas is back. He is a member of the California State Assembly. And I know that you've been speaking with your constituents, of which I am one,
yes,
about the California state budget, which is in better shape than it was a few years ago. As you've spoken with them at a forum you held recently and otherwise, what are your constituents saying about the governor's proposal?
Well, my constituents are very excited that the state is on the path towards fiscal prudence. So that means investing in infrastructure, human and physical, and making sure that we have a sustainable debt load that future generations will not be saddled with. You have children, you have concerns about their future. We don't want to weigh down their future with our poor decisions today. I heard Marion Wright Edelman recently say—
Children's Defense Fund.
That's right, Children's Defense Fund founder and executive director, president, and she mentioned that we are making decisions now that our children will have to live with and work through, and it is incumbent upon all of us to be as prudent and as responsible as we can. So what does that mean in terms of a budget document? Because you know, a budget is just a statement of our values.
Right.
Where do our dollars go? That means education, infrastructure.
Can I ask you about education for a moment?
Yes.
It's undeniable that Governor Brown has put a premium on K-12 education.
Yes.
In this budget, there is a 3% increase as opposed to last year. But we now know that, like you said, a budget is a document of values and priorities. And the UC Chancellor, for example, feels as if that her system and the CSU system is not being prioritized as it should.
Right.
And so now our children, depending on where they are in the the chronological timeline, they're being pitted against each other.
Right.
K-12 versus UC.
Yeah.
What's your sense of this great debate?
Well, as one who represents a community college in West LA and the University of California at Los Angeles.
And USC? Do you go down that far?
I go to the border of USC, so I have a
but that's
nice
private.
little mix. Yeah, it is private, but they are a large recipient of Cal grants because of the diversity of their student population. So we are significant, that is, the citizens of California are significant investors in private institutions like USC, like Pepperdine, like Cal Lutheran, like University of San Francisco, and Santa Clara University and Stanford, of course. So the
So what's your sense of the priorities? Should we be preferring K-12 as much as we are to the detriment of UC-CSU?
Well, we want kids who are from California to be able to actually function in our institutions. You got to invest in K-12, but before you get to K, you got to do early childhood education. And last year we made some good steps. The governor has been growing in his appreciation for the importance of early education. So what does that mean? You're ready to read by the time you hit the door. You've been appropriately socialized. Your ability to figure and engage in STEM sciences has already been broached.
Is it time to revisit the former speaker's priority of mandatory early education for age 4? Remember that?
I think it certainly is, but it costs. So one-time ways that we can do that, which the constituents of the 54th District and Greater Los Angeles have expressed, from law enforcement to business to education reform to those who work in educational institutions, is facilities. And that's something that's a one-time cost that is cheaper if you do it now. It'll be more expensive if you do it later. Our state allocation board sets up a program where we finance school facilities. Now, that money is running out.
Right, and last year I think former Assemblyman Hagman had wanted to put a bond on the ballot on that front.
That's exactly right.
It didn't happen though.
It did not. The governor was not agreeable to the proposal. But I'm pleased to announce that Majority Leader Chris Holden recently introduced a bill to close the loop and solidify the funding of that program. Because if we don't fund it, frankly, there are going to be negative triggers which will impact development fees.
His name is Sebastian Ridley-Thomas. He is a member of the California State Assembly. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Time Warner Cable's local edition.